What makes a bad therapist? This video is going to take you through the 5 red flags of bad therapy. Number 1, they talk too much. Now, I'm not saying that therapists should be sat in silence, but they definitely should not be doing the bulk of the talking in the therapy sessions. If you notice that you can't get a word in edgeways and they're talking at you and not with you, then this is a major red flag. Now, it's normal to feel quite emotionally drained after therapy because you're sharing a lot about yourself and the process is just quite tiring, but you definitely shouldn't be feeling tired because someone has been talking at you for the past 50 minutes. Remember, therapy is a space for you to talk about yourself, your experiences, and your feelings. They behave inappropriately. Therapists are human at the end of the day, but they shouldn't be behaving in an inappropriate manner. For example, a therapist should not be overly familiar. They should keep an appropriate physical distance between the two of you, and any sexual comments or innuendos are completely off the table. Therapists may compliment you, and so they could say something like, "I like your new haircut," but they shouldn't be commenting on your body, and they definitely shouldn't be trying to kiss or to touch you. Thirdly, they tell you what to do. Now, this is a bit of a funny one because some people say, well, yeah, of course I want to be told what to do. You know, I've come to therapy, I want help, I've got this issue that I want solving. So why shouldn't they tell me what to do? Why shouldn't a therapist give me advice? A good therapist will always help you come to the solution of your problems by yourself. If you're simply being given advice, then the therapist isn't empowering you in any way and they're not fostering any kind of independence. In fact, they would be encouraging dependence, which really isn't healthy. It's also important to remember that as therapists, we've only heard your story or your predicament from your point of view. We haven't got the bigger picture. So essentially, again, therapy is about exploring thoughts, feelings, experiences. So giving advice just isn't therapeutic and it doesn't foster independence. Fourthly, they invalidate your feelings. So if you are talking about how you feel and your therapist is invalidating this, then this is another major red flag. A therapist can disagree with what you're saying, of course, but if they are suggesting that your feelings are wrong, or if they're making you feel as though you shouldn't be feeling what you're feeling, then you should probably think about whether this is the right person for you. For example, you could be going through a breakup with someone that you maybe haven't been with for a long time, but you feel very distressed and upset about this. If your therapist then makes you feel silly for being so upset, or they suggest that you are overreacting, then this would be invalidating your feelings. Remember that, if anything, therapy should be a place where you feel safe enough to share your feelings. And finally, they speak from their own frame of reference. Now, a lot of therapists have a specialist area. So, for example, bullying or relationship breakdown or family estrangement. And sometimes they go into this because they've had personal experience in those areas. And now that's fine. There's nothing wrong in that. But a therapist needs to be careful that they're not using their own frame of reference in the therapy sessions. So what actually is a frame of reference? This essentially means that they're not stepping into the world of the client. They're not truly tuning into their experiences. Instead, the therapist is speaking from their own experiences and their own worldview. So, for example, a client could be talking about the loss of a loved one, and instead of putting themselves in the client's shoes and empathizing with their frame of mind, the therapist would impose their own view. Maybe they're thinking of their own experience when they lost someone. So then they might say, well, you can move on and be happy because that was their experience. A good therapist will always keep your experiences in mind, and they'll try and empathize with you. So they'll try and take a walk in your shoes. That's really important. That was 5 signs of bad therapy. Remember, if something doesn't feel right in the sessions, it probably isn't. So maybe think about getting a new therapist. I hope that was helpful. See you soon.